Today we will be talking about audio, but before we get to that and into Tech Friday proper, there is something I wanted to show you all in case you've updated Windows 11 recently, because usually updating is a good thing, but there's a thing in this particular update that you're going to want to change. So let me, hold on a second. Let me show you this. In Windows 11, go to your settings, then go on to privacy and security. You should see something like this, right? And then you want to go privacy and security. Okay, so settings, privacy and security. Ta-da. Then you need to scroll all the way down to where it says text and image generation. Click that and turn these things off. So that's settings, privacy and security, bottom of the list, text and image generation, and turn it off. So on-device generative AI technologies, yeah, just if you've updated Windows 11, which updating Windows 11 provides you with the latest security updates and might give you the latest drivers and bug fixes and things like that. However, there's this one thing in this update that you want to shut off, right? And it's found under settings, privacy and security, the very bottom of your privacy and security options, where it says text and image generation, right down here. Click that, text and image generation, turn that off. Off. Yeah, hey, Puddle Glum. So yeah, I want to make sure everyone knew about that, because Windows 11 is sort of the necessary evil for things to work. And again, there's bug fixes, there's updates that are necessary to keep things working. But occasionally, there's something like this that you just want to turn off. So tell your friends, spread the word, do the thing, be a good neighbor. All right. So yeah, and if you're not on the latest Windows 11, you won't see that. But again, I kind of have to encourage you to keep Windows 11 updated so you constantly get security updates and bug fixes, because you need those to run your system properly, right? So that programs like programs we talk about on here run. Sometimes you need to update, and sometimes there's bad things in updates, and that's one of the bad things in the update. So yeah, and if you want a post, I found this came my way on Blue Sky randomly. I don't follow this person, but there is a post. The post I saw on Blue Sky that pointed that out to me. So if you need a reference, there you go. Or you can, clip this video and show it to people too, which would help me out. It's Friday. That means it's Tech Friday. Yay. And today is all about audio. I was going to just talk about the WaveLink 3 beta, but it's been about a year since I've really talked about audio, the full thing. So I decided, let's go on a little journey and build up to audio routing and the WaveLink 3 beta and what you do beyond that. So first thing is you're in a room, and it's the room where you're going to stream in, and there's nothing in there, and it's echoey. Why? Because sound bounces. If I have a laser pointer pointed at the wall or at my PowerPoint, that light isn't going to bounce off and hit my shirt. Sound don't care. Sound bounces everywhere, right? It goes from my voice, hits the wall, hits this, hits that, and bounces back. And we want to cut down on those echoes with sound absorption. Now, sometimes you might hear soundproofing. Soundproofing is a different thing. It requires different materials. Soundproofing is sound not leaving a room. Sound absorbing is cutting down the echo of a room so that it sounds like we're having a natural conversation. I'm sitting next to you. You can hear me. I can hear you. And you don't hear the echo of a room, anything like that. So I found a good article on the difference. If you want to read up on it, check this one out. All right. And that covers the difference between soundproofing, sound absorbing, the type of materials you need for each. And sound absorbing is pretty easy. If you have a wooden floor, put down a rug. That will help immensely. Just, go buy a large area rug, put it down. That'll help. If you have 2 rods and a blanket, put that blanket over the rods or some heavy curtains. That will also help. And put that, either to your side, or if you can, put it behind your desk, because when you're talking, your voice is going that way, or even behind you, or to the other side, up to you. You can do that, or let me take down my green screen and you can see what I'm doing. Sound panels. Those are the Elgato sound panels, whatever they're called. And so I have 4 here. Can't see the other 2, and 4 on this wall here. And it makes a huge amount of difference. When we were building the wall behind me here to kind of separate out this space, I could walk in this room, I could clap my hands, and I could definitely hear that echo. And with just these total of 8 panels, I've reduced that echo significantly, right? And they're kind of near my microphone space. My microphone's right down here, slightly off camera. So you want to think about that too. And so there's tons of solution for getting panels like these. You can either get those, or you can build your own. There's lots of sound absorbing material that you can find online, and acoustic panels, probably a great way to go. What I like about these from Elgato is that you can stick them to the wall, or you can screw them in. So if you're at a place where you can't put holes in your walls, you can just stick the frames to them, and that the sticky adhesive they use is pretty good. I'm using it now. These have been up a couple years now and haven't fallen. So good. And sometimes you'll see it recommended that you put panels into your ceiling. That freaks me out way too much, because it's just going to drop on my head, right? So I can't handle doing that. But you may see recommendations to do that. Hi, Brian. Welcome on in. Yeah, you've been here the whole time. And so, and I would like to get more panels just to kind of reduce the sound. I think my sound is pretty good right now, but it can be better. I could put some panels up on that firewall, and that would help a bit. But just these 8 panels here are doing a lot of work to cut down on the echo, to absorb the sound, as it were. And that's what you're looking for, sound absorption. So you kind of want to treat your space is the first thing you want to think about. Putting down that rug, setting up that curtain, or that blanket over, a couple rods, pull between the rods, blanket draped over it. Make sure it's a heavy blanket. Put it somewhere near where you're speaking. That's why these panels are on the walls closest to me and not the firewall, and not over there on the other side of the room. So I'm getting the most benefit from these, and they're down a bit. They're not up high, but they're closer to where my voice would be echoing from on the walls. Placement matters, especially if you only have a few of them. And I could have built my own, but that seemed like a lot of work, and I didn't want to do that. So I just got the Elgato ones, and they have been working fantastic. But like I said, there's even putting up a bookcase and putting stuff in the bookcase can help with reducing that echo. So just things in a room can help as well. So if you don't want to spend money on sound panels like these, you don't have to. All right, so that's the first thing to keep in mind when you're setting up your space for streaming. And I should mention that I am talking about just streaming, right? I'm not talking about setting up mics to record a band or for music. This is just for us talking, typical streamer setup, me talking to an audience, or a panel of people talking to an audience, and making it sound like we're in a room together and can have a conversation at a reasonable volume. All right, let me put my green screen back up a second. All right. So, another part you want to think about is your microphone. And I have videos on microphone and sound. Go to my YouTube, the Tech Friday playlist. There's videos on audio there. I have some blog posts on audio routing as well, which I'll get to in a moment. But microphones. And there's this idea out there that any mic, the mic you have is the best mic for you. And you can set up your room, like I just said, to absorb sound and make that mic sound decent. Or you can get a good mic and make it sound better. Generally, I listen to a lot of microphone reviews on YouTube, see if I really like them or not. And in general, I found that if you're getting a $50 microphone, you're going to have a harder time making that sound good. Some microphones are 50 and under. I do not like. I just don't think they sound good. But if you can prep your space, you might be able to get a good sound out of that $50 microphone. And so please, if you're only going to spend $50, or if that's all you have to spend on a microphone, please be careful and go to YouTube and type in the model of that microphone. And that's where you should really listen to them. You should do this for any microphone, by the way, because somebody on YouTube has a review of it and has tested it out versus their current equipment or other equipment, things like that. But if you're spending around $100 to $150, if you can spend that, you're probably going to get a good mic. Like, 99% of the time, you'll be fine if you can spend that much on your microphone. That's not to say $50 mics can sound good, but you'll be chasing that good sound more, and some just aren't great. They don't make your voice sound as robust. I was very lucky and won a mic in a drawing that was around the $200-300 range. Awesome. Yeah, that's great. And I'm using the PodMic USB, which I think has gone up in price a little bit, because I thought it was only around $150 when I got it, but now it's at like $209 from Rode. So that's my microphone there. You can take a look at the window here. PodMic USB. And when I was looking for a new mic, I, again, followed my own advice, listened to a lot of mic reviews, and having listened to my own voice now for a few years, doing streaming and things, I went, okay, I think that this microphone will be the best for my voice. And so far, I think it's been pretty good, right? I pair that with the Rodecaster Duo for some audio processing to, when it gets out to you, make it sound great. All right. So yeah, that's just, years of research. I don't have a scientific study to back it. It's just me, my ears, listening to microphone reviews. 100, 150 is probably a sweet spot where you're most likely going to sound good if you can spend that much on a microphone. Another option is headset mics, and some of the best sounding headset mics I found were the Logitech brand, especially the ones Cypher of Tier uses. That mic sounds awesome. So you're getting the expensive headset, but those mics are fantastic. And sometimes headset mics can sound like you're distant or a little bit processed, but those give you a real natural sound. Again, be careful with those. Like I said, the Logitech ones are pretty good if you're looking for if you want to wear a headset and have a headset mics. Yeah, and the Logitech Blue Sona XLR is nice, as it put in chat. Yeah, the Logitech is also doing really well in the mic department now that they have the Blue brand under them, and the Yetis and things like that. Those are all great mics. But yeah, so yeah, if you're looking for a headset mic, definitely go for a Logitech offering. because those just sound wonderful. They're pretty great. All right, so you've soundproofed. You've selected your mic. Now you got to go, well, I have all this audio. I want, a Spotify track to go to my audience. I need my microphone to go to my audience. I have other things I need them to hear, and I don't want my audience to hear every sound my computer makes. So what do? Well, that's when we get into audio routing. And I made 3 blog posts last year about it. So incoming links, y'all. If you want to see it, there's the overview. And here's the one about adding a mixer into the mix. See what I did there? Adding the mixer into the mix. Yeah, I'm good. There's that one. And then just audio routing in OBS. So bam, there you go. And now this is where we get into the WaveLink 3 beta. Before and in those blog posts, I'll mention Mixline. And the WaveLink 3 beta just came out Thursday. So it's only been around a couple days. It's a beta. I've run into some bugs. We'll get into that. Gotta cut out the banshee like whales of the tortured souls. I mean, the PC fans, right? So after my explanation, if you want to try out this beta yourself, you can. It is Windows only right now. There's usually a Mac version of Elgato stuff, so just be aware. But even with the minor problems I've had with it, the WaveLink 3 is going to be my recommended audio routing solution. Now, like I said, I had been using Mixline by Logitech, but it's been 9-10 months since we've heard anything from them. And it works fine, but they don't show it, they don't talk about it in their advertising. They don't have any kind of roadmap for any kind of, hey, we're going to update this to make this even better. So I'm getting a little, Mixline still works, but I don't know, silence is silence. And even if they just said, hey, we don't have any updates, we like it how it is, just that would be perfect. I would love to hear anything about Mixline. Logitech kind of gets like that. If something doesn't take off and get widely adopted, they quietly shuffle it into a corner. Yeah, and that's what seems like going on with Mixline. So I'm not going to rely on it, but in my blog post, the principles of audio routing still apply, even if you're not using Mixline. And so you want to take your audio source, like Spotify, and have it go to other places on your machine, and then put that place into OBS as an audio source. And so what we have is this. Radio silence is not good for your audio routing software. It isn't. And I just have, if you're going to use WaveLink 3, right? If you're going to use WaveLink 3, just have it come up on startup, so all your audio routing is always there for you. But we'll show it off, and I'll get into some of the bugs I've run into. But here's the window. Let's increase it. You can see what I have. Now, I don't have anything playing in these channels, so nothing's moving here. And it's about let me restore this window a second here, because it's cutting stuff off. Let me move my mouse so things aren't cut off anymore. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, I have the input I want. So I have Spotify, right? I have Spotify, Discord. Now you have to have the program open. And in the case of Spotify, I did have to have music playing in Spotify for it to initially find it. I click Create Channel. It'll show me my endpoint devices. It'll show me my apps. So the Zen browser that I use to show off things, OBS Studio. So I can add those if I want. Again, in the beta, you might have to have it actually playing audio to be a recognized source. And you have these inputs along the side. Now I renamed these. This is not called main speakers. It's only called as main speakers because I hit the edit button and named it main speakers. And we'll get into this stuff in just a minute. So if you get this program and you look at one, yeah, this doesn't say main speakers by default because you can change it and you just type in whatever you want here. So I'm saying I want my audio to go out to my speakers, my Spotify audio to go out to my speakers. And when you float over, you'll see this plus button and you just click it. And now that audio will go to that channel. So because I have a Rodecaster Duo, I set these up to go to the Rodecaster Duo channels. Again, this probably get a little confusing. I'll do my best to explain it. So I set all these up for my Rodecaster channels. I'm like, okay, I want my Spotify to go to Rodecaster Duo secondary. And sometimes I want it on my speakers. You know, when I'm listening to music, I don't have my headphones in. I'm not listening to my audio mix that goes out to all of you because that's for all of you. So I hit Spotify. You notice the big Spotify window up there. But you can see audio there. And then, oh, you can't see the audio on the other side. Hold on. And then you see the audio there. Right? So this is why you're hearing it, because it's going to this specific channel on my Rodecaster and out through OBS. And you can lower the master volume. Let me move that window there. Hold on. Let's move this because it's blocking the view and it's very large for some reason. Okay, so you can see the volume. Now I'm moving it down. This moves it down for every channel the audio goes to. It's like your master volume. This volume over here only makes it go down on that channel. And you can see you have a nice purple line as I increase the audio. So that alone is pretty fantastic for controls. Now, in the future, they're going to make this so you have buttons to do this associated with your Stream Deck. That product isn't out yet, but they say that's coming up. All right, I'm going to turn off Spotify. And so you just add what you want, tell them what channels go to. And since I have WaveLink come up when I start, I'm like, okay, WaveLink, I want you to kind of take care of all my audio routing. So go to my main speakers and everything. Now, here's where, because I have a Rodecaster Duo and I want my audio to go through that, things get a little confusing. But I'll try to explain it best I can. So what happens is up here, and oh, by the way, this ear icon, if you want to just listen to, if you set it up to have this audio go through your headphones and you just want to listen to one of the mixes, you click the ear icon and then you're just hearing that mix. So what happens is when you have an input, and I forget how many inputs you can make. You can make like 10 inputs, and then how many ever, apps you need to go out to people or you want to move around. And also, what I like about this is that I don't have to go into software. I don't have to go into Windows and set that, oh, I want this at my speakers now instead of Rodecaster Duo secondary. I can just have it go to both and then mute the one I don't want it to go to. I'm not constantly having to reset where the audio goes in Windows. It just handles it for me. So when you go to edit, you'll notice a couple things in this audio output is that for WaveLink, this channel is a virtual channel. See where it says main speaker, it'll take whatever name you put here. So since I called channel 1 main speakers, puts main speakers, it's a virtual channel. But I also have the hardware output of my speakers where I want the sound to go. I don't want it going through this virtual channel, so I have to add the output of my speakers. So it runs through a virtual channel. Now I can go into OBS and I can say add audio, and it will find a main speaker's virtual for me. And I'll show that off in a minute. But if you already have channels, like if you're using a Rodecaster Duo like I am, you have to add the output down below. It would be neat if I could just change this top one to be the output I wanted, but I kind of get it. They're making it so you have, these are so if you don't have a Rodecaster Duo, you still have a way to access the channel in OBS, because it'll be whatever you name it, Elgato Virtual Audio, virtual, right? It'll just name it that. But for it to go to my actual Rodecaster Duo channel, my Rodecaster Duo chat channel, I have to add that as an output. And you can add as many outputs as you want. I could, have this go to the game channel, my main multi-track channel, right? I can have this go to other places too, all in one thing. But just be aware that when you set up a place for your audio to go to, you are setting up a virtual channel. So if you have other virtual channels, you have to assign them as separate outputs. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing. Otherwise, all you have to really worry about is this top one, whatever you name this. So hopefully that made sense. That confused me for a little bit. I'm like, why isn't this going there? And I can show you what it looks like when you add these to OBS. And you see I have Spotify, Discord, Hades 2. And again, this is the best part about audio routing, is their audio routing using WaveLink 3 is that you can have it go to multiple places, and you don't have to constantly switch to multiple places. You just have to mute and unmute the channel, or you can leave them all on. Like, since when I normally use my computer, I don't hear what's going through my Rodecaster. I could just leave this on, and then as long as I can have something that goes through my speakers, I'll be set, because I don't want to wear my headphones all day. In your experience so far, what has the onboarding of 3 been like in terms of documentation and walkthroughs? I watched their video on it, and that's kind of the only. If you go to Elgato's YouTube, they have a video on it. That's how I kind of knew about the outputs and everything. They don't really have an explanation of, if you have a Rodecaster Duo, well, you need to add an output and assign it as an output. They just say, yeah, you just add your channels and blah, blah, blah. So because my situation is different than what standard is, I don't think they have anyone saying, oh yeah, if you already have something like a Rodecaster, here's what you do. I don't know if they would do that, because Rodecaster Duo is a competing product. Yeah, I've been wondering how easy peasy they're making it, or relying on people who know their own setups quirks. So far it's been me knowing my own setups quirks. I can see if you don't have my setup quirks, where you're just adding audio to channels and putting this virtual channel into OBS, and you're going, and that's fine. And they explain that in the video. That's okay. But I will show off what this looks like in OBS real quick, and then we'll get into some of the bugs that I've run into. Let's see here. I have an OBS portable up, so that I can show you. Where did that go? There it is. All right. So here's my OBS. This isn't the OBS I'm broadcasting with now. This is just so I can mess around with stuff. And so you would go to sources, hit the plus icon, add, oh boy, I don't remember if it's an audio input capture or audio output. Let's guess it's an input capture. And then create new. Okay, audio input capture device. Does it say? Yes, so you can see where main speakers, or that channel 1, Elgato Virtual Audio, right? Or I have, Rodecaster Duo secondary as the Elgato Virtual Audio. Or I have the actual Rodecaster Duo secondary channel that I normally use. But if it's the virtual audio channel and you're using that, just look for where it says Elgato Virtual Audio and add it to your mix. All right, so since we have secondary, say that, I'll say okay. And then we should see it here, because I think it... Okay, so now you're seeing Spotify in OBS through the Elgato virtual channel that I set up. And, you know, I would adjust this, but this, if you were listening to this mix, this is what would be going out to you. So obviously I want to turn that sound down. I can either do that in OBS or, you know, wherever, or I could do that in WaveLink. But yeah, so as long as the channel says Elgato Virtual Audio and matches up to whatever you name it, just keep adding. And you can add a ton of channels. You can add a ton of audio channels to your audio sources. And then when you record a video, you know, you're going to do what's called mix down into one of 6 channels, but we'll get to that in a moment. So yeah, that's what it looks like in OBS. And then get WaveLink back up. Let's get WaveLink back up. There it is. WaveLink, why are you beeping at me? No, yes, see, I'm clicking the button. This is another bug. I'm clicking it, but it's just making a Windows beep at me. And I'm like, no, I want you to reappear. Reappear. There you go. Okay, so that was more complicated than it should have been to get the window coming back up. So, bug, right? But that seems like a thing they can fix. Other thing I ran into was that there was one time, and so far it's only occurred once, that it got a little confused and had Spotify going through Hades 2 and nothing on the Spotify channel, but Hades 2 was not active. Spotify was active and showing the audio. Now, I quit the program. I updated my Windows 11 stuff. It seemed to figure it out after that, so I'm not sure what really did the trick there. But so far, it's been solid. It hasn't gotten confused again, but that did happen once, right? Again, this is still beta. There's bugs. And I have to share some feedback. So that was one bug. And the main thing I had to learn for my setup was the difference between what a virtual audio channel will do and then assigning the output to the channel that I want, right? And that, I don't think they do a good job of really explaining this part yet. They just say set up a channel, the audio, you know, set up where you want the audio to go to. But if you want to assign another output to here, I think I would need I would like more of an explanation, because this I kind of figured out on my own. But as far as, the other bug was that, as I mentioned before, I had to not only have Spotify active, but I also had to have it playing music before it was recognized in this list. Now, other things like Discord just popped up. So it didn't happen for every program. Now, you do have to have, it doesn't know all the programs on your system. It will only register the open programs. Mixline has the same behavior. You have to have the program open before it goes, oh, okay, here's this program. But that from then on, it will always remember that, like, I can turn off Spotify right now, and this right here will stay. This isn't going anywhere. Once you set it, it's good to go. So those were some of the quirks and bugs I ran into in the let's see here, about 12 hours or about 24 hours I've been using this. That's been available. So yeah, just be aware, if you go to it, they fix those little things. As it is right now, if you're not using this for audio routing, I don't know what to tell you. This is such a great and powerful solution for audio mixing and routing. And the best part, okay, there's a lot of really good parts, is if you want to use VSTs, which again are things to enhance your audio, you click that little wave button, you get this. You can add effects preamp, or you can add effect. You have these Elgato ones, right? Elgato compressor, EQ, noise removal. Because I have an NVIDIA card, I have NVIDIA broadcast noise removal. Those are all there, which is fantastic. Oh, and look, I can even change the app icon if I want to. So you can add effects. You can add, if you have VSTs, there's a way to add those too, just by clicking here, and they should show up. Because you have to assign a that's it. You have to assign the VST folder in settings, and then effects, and then it's VST3s or VST2s. You have to tell it where to find it. Now, Windows and Mac both have a standard place where they put VSTs. So this is where they put VST3s. You can change it if you want to. But if you download VSTs, there's a bunch available for free. There are some on the Elgato Marketplace, and they are just effects that you can add to your audio. And if you don't want to use WaveLink, you can also apply VST effects right into OBS as well. So yeah, you can check for plugins, show them new in startup, dump them into whatever folder you want your VST to go to. You get to assign those. And then once you do that, those will appear. So since I just set this up, I don't have any. It's not going to show me any, but those would appear in this list here. All right, you'll also notice I do not have my microphone here. I just have my mic going right into my router, right into my Rodecaster Duo and out to you. I really didn't see a reason to put it through this, but I could. I could create channel, and my mic is Rodecaster Duo main multi-track. I could add that. There it is, and I can decide whether I want and you can see I'm talking, so it's showing me the audio of the channel, and I can have it go out to any of these other channels, which would just get weird. So again, if you don't have something like the Rodecaster Duo, you can plug in any microphone, have it selected, and decide what virtual channel you want that to go out to. So, if you want to have just people in your Discord hear you, you can tell Discord, okay, Discord, go to my Rodecaster Duo, use my Rodecaster Duo secondary channel for my input, and hit the plus icon, and your microphone's going to there. This works with any microphone. All right, you just find it in the list, whatever Windows happens to call it. For Rodecaster, I have to look for Rodecaster Duo main multi-track to know it's my microphone. But it can, whatever it's called in Windows or eventually in Mac, you just select it here and it'll pop up. All right, I'm going to remove this because I don't need my microphone to go through this process. Right, I really want my microphone just in one channel going through my Rodecaster Duo. I really don't need my microphone also going out my main speakers because I don't want to hear myself talking at the same time I'm talking and have that weird echo delay thing happening. But if you don't have something like a Rodecaster Duo, use this, set up your mic, have it go out. Again, you hit this plus icon over here. I just added another thing. It calls it the record mix. Again, I can change this name, but right now in OBS, I'd find record mix Elgato virtual audio and know that's the channel name. And then, if I want to assign another output, I can do that. And you can just keep going. And yeah, it's really neat. Anyway, let's remove that. I don't need that. But it's really easy to use. And that's the thing, is that I've tried other audio solutions. I've tried various audio solutions. And so far, the easiest to use to route your audio to various places without hassle has been Mixline and this, WaveLink 3. And that's it. Other things I've looked at either don't have this functionality or are way too complicated. Like voice meter is way too complicated. Don't just ignore voice meter. Don't use voice meter. I mean, if you want to, you can, but you're overcomplicating things. All right. Oh, I got to run some ads. According to, there should be an ad going soon. Yes, I'm at time. So let's take a break. We still have another section of sound to round out, but let me take a break so I can keep pre-rolls away. And that way, y'all get the thing. So next, when we come back from break, we're going to be, now that we've gathered the sound, we have it going to where we want to go. Now telling OBS, okay, OBS, here's my audio. I need it to go here so that when my video is done and people are watching the VOD or they're watching it later on YouTube or I'm editing it, here's the audio channels I want used and so forth. So we'll get into that after the break. Okay, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking around through the break. Appreciate it. Welcome in as we continue on in our audio journey. And I also want to say WaveLink 3, I forgot to mention this, WaveLink 3 will be free for everybody. You don't have to have Elgato hardware. That's why I'm kind of showing it off and recommending it more than I normally would. But version 3 will be free for everybody. You don't need Elgato hardware to run it like the previous versions of WaveLink. So that's why it's a high recommend. Plus, with VST, being able to add VSTs to whatever audio channel you want makes it a very powerful solution. Now, again, I said that you can add the VSTs to and filter your audio in OBS as well. I've said this before, only add filters to your audio in one place. Whether you want to do that through WaveLink or whether you want to do that through OBS, pick one, stick with it. Don't double filter your audio because it's going to sound weird. So note there, you can if you want to, but please don't do that. Don't double filter. Just filter it in one place, and then that filter will transfer over to where you need it to go. Fine. Or if there are some filters you like on WaveLink and some you like on OBS, you can mix and match too, but definitely don't be using the same filter. And instead of having to remember that, just filter in one place and carry it over. It'll make your life easier. It's what I do. So I don't want to remember all these things. I just need to know that I have certain filters that do certain things, and this is the only place I add filters. But to tell audio where to go and having it to go to multiple channels is such a game changer, especially for free. And WaveLink 3 makes it very, very easy. So you have your audio, you've put your audio in OBS. Now you got to tell OBS what to do with that audio. So let's go back to our little portable OBS install. So I have the audio capture. It's Spotify. It's my Elgato virtual channel for my Spotify. I want to go over to, first, haha, it's advanced audio properties, right? So first, I'll do that again. I want to click the three dots next to your audio, go to advanced audio properties. Then this opens up this window, and you can set things if you want, but up to you, depending on your system. And then tracks. You get 6 tracks. So what tracks do I want this to go off on? Well, in a moment, I'll show you the Twitch VOD track thing that OBS allows you to do. And you can also do it in Meld. Meld also lets you have a separate Twitch VOD track. So I don't want Spotify in track 2 because that's going to be my go out. This goes out to my VOD. So I don't want it in track 2. I don't need it in any of these other tracks either. I just need it in track 1. And then I'll put my microphone in here just so we have another audio source. So your audio input capture 2, fine. Default. And my mic is this one. Okay. So now you see my microphone down here. See my mic here. Now I want you to be able to hear my mic on the Twitch VOD. So I'm going to leave it in I'm going to leave it in one so you can hear both. You know, this will be my stream going out to you. And I don't need it in... I'm not using these other audio tracks, so I don't need it to go there. But so you can hear my microphone in the VOD track, click it on too. Right? So this is where you're assigning what tracks you want the audio to go to. You can just leave it to all tracks if you want to, but probably not. You probably going to want a VOD track. And honestly, OBS could probably use a little update to make all this a little easier to get through. But so you set it up there. I want, you know, so this initial capture is my Spotify. I just want to go to track 1. Track 1's going out to all of you. I don't want it to go to my VOD track in case there's some sort of copyright issue with the music. So the VOD won't get have a copyright strike, so you won't hear the Spotify on the VOD. But I want you to hear my microphone on the audio that goes out to you and on the VOD. So I make sure both of those are checked. All right. The next thing you want to do is go to settings, and we're concerned with audio. Now, here's a tip. 48 kHz, yes. Stereo. Disable all of these. Mark all of these in global audio devices to disabled. This causes headaches. This causes double audio occasionally. It's not worth it. If it's your first time setting up OBS, you may see things in here, or things might appear in here. Just set all these to disabled. Save yourself a bunch of headaches. Now, I can see reasons why you would say use this, but for me and for all the purposes I've seen this used, just disable this. This isn't worth your time trying to deal with. All right, and you're monitoring, you know, you can set up hotkeys for things, all that, if you want. And then you go to output, and here's where we get, okay, so the stream audio, I want that audio track 1 that I just set up. That's both my microphone and my Spotify and any other sound. I want that. I want to be track 1. I want you to hear track 1, which will just be everything. My games, my Spotify. If I have someone on Discord, it's all going through track 1. That's what you're hearing now. Then my VOD track, here's where I mark, you know, I want it to be tracked, my Twitch VOD track, I want it to be track 2, where it takes out the Spotify so I don't get a copyright strike on the music. It just removes the risk. The music I have playing shouldn't have a copyright strike on it, but just in case, I take it out of the mix, and I have the Twitch VOD track 2. So if you go back and watch the VOD, you shouldn't hear the music that I run on Spotify. You'll still see the little window up that the player's going and things like that, but you won't hear the music. All right, then you set up your recording, where you want stuff, your audio encoder, all that. Audio, change your bit rates to 320. They probably won't be at 320, but just change them to 320. But recording. Now then, when you're recording your video, when you go down here and you click the Start Recording button to record a local file, you can select what audio tracks you want with that recording. So if I have everything going to audio track 1, I don't necessarily need to have all of these on the recording. But if I want to see 6 audio tracks in my editor, I can. Or, you know, if I just have a thing going to track 1 and say, for some reason, I need to separate out my Discord to track 3, so then I can have 2 audio tracks attached to the recording. And the process of doing this is called mixdown, where you take a bunch of audio sources and you put, you know, 2, 3, how many ever into one channel. You're mixing down into another thing. And that's a fairly standard practice across video production, because eventually when you upload it to YouTube or your Twitch VOD, you have a left channel and a right channel. You have stereo audio. That's it. That's all you get. And once you put it into, once your Twitch VOD is up or your YouTube VOD is up, there might be a way to do other things in YouTube. I'm not sure, but basically you're mixing down to a left channel and a right channel. You're mixing down to stereo audio, ultimately. So keep that in mind. Also, I want to point something out one more time because I've heard something. I can't remember where I heard it before, but again, you can put, no, don't save changes. You can put a ton of audio devices here. I can keep adding things. I can have, I don't know how many audio applications I can have. I can add, just an application. I could just add Spotify instead of having it be part of a virtual mix. I could add my Discord channel here. I can add, if I wanted 10 games, I could put 10 games across here. You can add a ton in the audio mixer, and eventually you're going to mix those down into these six channels here. And you got to decide where you want those to go. So if you want 3 things to go into, audio track 3, just check audio track 3 here. So don't feel limited by this. You can keep adding audio sources to your heart's content. Once you get here, you make some decisions, but yeah, you're going to have more than enough audio. You can add more audio sources than you will ever need here. This can be 8, 10, I forget what the max is, but it's a lot. And then you just decide which one of these 6 tracks, certain things go to. And that might also depend upon how your editing flow works. So if I go into DaVinci Resolve, I would see, if I go back to the settings and output audio, or recording, sorry, and whatever these check is how many audio channels I see. So right now I take this hybrid MP4 that I get, I put it into DaVinci Resolve. DaVinci Resolve will show me 6 audio tracks. Now there might not be anything on some of those tracks, so maybe I don't need to record those. So, I can just check them off. But then I could have okay, this is just my mic, 2 is Spotify, 3 is Discord and my video games. And if I need to adjust just those bits of audio, I have them separated out so I can. So that's largely going to depend upon how you're going to be editing a local recording. But yeah, and then you set it up, you add your metadata to the video, and you let people enjoy. So that is the big audio episode for today. That takes you from soundproofing your room to selecting a mic to routing your audio, putting it in OBS, and sending it out to the peoples. So, okay, that was a lot. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in chat. If there's something you need more of an explanation on, you want recommendations on anything, let me know. Because this was a longer episode than I usually have, but I thought it'd be useful to go through there. You're always so good at explaining this. Thank you, JD. I appreciate that a lot. I don't stream or use these systems, but it made sense to me. Yay! Perfect. But yeah, I'll have this edited down, and this Tech Friday will be up over. How can I send a tone below 20 hertz to invoke a feeling of dread in my viewers? I love that. So there's, in broadcasting, wait, this isn't a redacted Q&A, disregard. In broadcasting, there's something called bars and tone. And you would put it, if you had a videotape, I know I'm using the word tape, but if you would put bars and tone, so you would put color bars at the front of the tape with what was called tone. I think it was 1 kilohertz tone or something like that. Anyway, it'd be a beep, and it would be a consistent beep. And that way, when someone else put this tape into a different player, they could set their colors and set the audio according to the bars and tone that you've put on there. So it would keep the signal, the color, and the audio consistent throughout different play decks. So when we talk about tone, that's kind of what we're talking about here. So you loop it into your audio mix in DaVinci or Audacity, and right? Yeah, you just find that tone. I mean, so I could set up let's say I did a tone, depending how long I needed it. Do I need it to loop for a long time? I could, maybe in Audacity set up a really long loop of tone, and then say I could activate VLC and play an hour-long tone if I wanted to, and then have VLC go to a specific channel in my WaveLink, and then have that virtual channel in my OBS, and then have the ability to mute that channel when I wanted it to mute and unmute. I'm just saying, you could. Dang it, WaveLink. So I'll show you this. Something that doesn't quite work in WaveLink, and I'll show this off. When I went down here after we came during the demo, saying I was getting the Windows tone, I was just going down here, clicking the icon to make it, see how it went away? I tried to make it pop up. It gives me Windows tone. There, now it worked. But that first one doesn't go. That second one does. So that's a bug. I don't get that bug at all, but it's worth noting. Again, this has been out for a little over 24 hours. So yeah, if you're streaming right now, there's not many things I recommend, but once it's out of beta, I highly suspect WaveLink 3 will be in the recommended list of things along with OBS. You're just not going to find anything else as powerful or as easy to use as WaveLink. Plus, it's free. Like OBS, it's free, right? And if something else comes out that's comparable, I'll let y'all know about it. But right now, I'm not seeing it. If you find software you like that does all that stuff we just went over with WaveLink, please let me know. I'm always interested in more options. But right now, other than the few bugs I mentioned, I'm having trouble keeping WaveLink 3 out of the list of if you're streaming, you should just be using WaveLink 3. It's the easiest solution I've seen thus far. Now, again, there could be another solution right around the corner as better, but in another case, even if something else comes up, you're not going to go wrong with continuing to use WaveLink 3 either. But yeah, and once WaveLink 3 gets out of beta, we'll talk about it again. We'll go over it, any features they've added. I'll probably still be using it. I've shut down Mixline. I may actually be uninstalling Mixline in another couple days. But I just wanted to keep it running for a few days, make sure everything is working, good enough for me for now. And even though I don't use it for my microphone, just the routing table itself is amazing. And what I also don't like about it, what I also like about it, and I like this about Mixline too, is that after the initial weird hiccups I had with Spotify going, it has kept that audio on those tracks, right? It hasn't moved. Whereas if I were to set this in Windows, it would sometimes, I've had it often where Windows audio just changes because it's Tuesday. I don't know. So I tend to leave all my Windows audio settings at default. Oh, another thing I did not like with WaveLink is that it did change my defaults when I first installed it. So these are the defaults I want. I want my speakers to always be my Realtek audio, this to be my speakers. They're Creative Lab speakers, but this makes them go to the speakers. And my input device is always this microphone. And so I did have to reset that. And then I came down here and, reset sound devices and volumes for all amps to the recommended defaults. Meaning my defaults are this for my speakers, this for my mic. And then I can click these And like Discord, oh, that's got to change. But it tells me, you know, it's going to an audio channel, which is fine. You know, Spotify tells you that now Spotify, you know, has a virtual audio channel to it that's outputting to, which is fine. Zen browser, just defaults. But if you ever want to reset all your sound devices and app volumes to the defaults, you just hit the reset button and it'll do it. But yeah, so keep that in mind. System, sound, volume mixer, keep your output, make sure your output and input device are what you want, because when I first installed WaveLink, it did change these, and that maybe that's good for you, wherever it changes them. It doesn't work for me, but could work for you. So just be aware, that's a thing that could happen when you first install it. And I've reset my computer multiple times. I've been playing around with WaveLink, and these, after I reset these have stuck. It hasn't messed with them again. So good time there. And as Rex says, reminder to screenshot your audio settings before installing, including your VSTs and settings where applicable.